My name is Marilu Farron, 29 years old. On February 14th, 2026, Valentine's Day, my mother stood up in front of 200 wedding guests, took the microphone, and said the words I had been dreading for 8 long months. Marilu, sweetheart, you'll never do better than a janitor. My father started clapping. 5 others joined him. 194 people sat frozen in their chairs. We were standing in the Grove Event Centre, the very venue my parents had called cheap when they learned we paid $18,000 for it. The same building where my husband had worked as a night janitor for 3 years and 10 months. The same floors he had mopped, the same trash he had emptied, and every pipe and wire he had learned when everyone else had gone home. My mother didn't know something. My father didn't know. Almost no one in that room knew, except 3 people. And when my husband stood up and began walking toward the microphone, I realized there are some truths you can't take back, but I'm getting ahead of myself. If you've ever been told by your own family that the person you love isn't good enough, take a second right now and tell me in the comments what time it is where you are. And if this story already has your heart beating faster, hit that like button. It really helps these kinds of real stories reach more people who need to hear them. It started on April 15th, 2022, at River's Edge Cafe on Collier Street. I was working on mock-ups for a client, laptop open, coffee going cold. I had been billing at $42 an hour for 3 years by then, enough to pay rent in Bend, Oregon, but never enough to impress my parents. A man walked in. Tall, dark hair, work boots. He ordered a black coffee and somehow managed to knock over a water cup near my table on his way out. "I'm so sorry," he said, grabbing napkins. "Let me buy you another coffee. Actually, let me buy you 2 coffees. I'm clearly a walking disaster today." I looked up. He had kind eyes, the kind that actually see you. "One's fine," I said. He smiled. "I'm Jamie." When he left, I found a receipt on my table with his phone number written in pen below it. In case you need disaster relief again. I texted him that night. The evening air in Bend still carried that crisp pine scent I loved so much. I sat on my couch, phone in hand, staring at the simple message I had just sent. "Hey, it's Marilu from the cafe. Still offering disaster relief?" My heart beat a little faster than usual. I wasn't used to reaching out first, especially to someone who looked like he belonged in work boots rather than boardrooms. When his reply came almost instantly, "A disaster relief on standby. Pilot but tomorrow at 6 A," smiled despite myself. That night, I barely slept, wondering what I was getting myself into. But something about his easy laugh and the way he didn't try to impress me felt refreshingly real in a town full of people chasing status. Our first date was at Pilot, but on April 23rd at 6:00 in the evening. We hiked to the summit, 480 feet up. The sunset hit at 7:52. He told me about his job. "I'm a night janitor at the Grove Event Centre," he said. I waited for the usual defensiveness, the explanation, the apology. Instead, he said, "My grandfather's will has a condition. I have to work there for at least 3 years before full ownership transfers to me. If you're going to own a building, you need to know every inch of it. Start at the bottom. So I'm learning how pipes sound before they burst. How HVAC systems fail. It's honest work. You see results. Your grandfather left you a building, a part of one. 60%. He and his partner bought it in 1998. But I have to earn it. Work requirement. No shortcuts." I liked that. The idea that something valuable should be earned, not just inherited. "What do your parents do?" he asked. I hesitated. My dad's a retired army captain, 20 years. Then he went into commercial real estate. My mom's an interior designer. We drove to Pilot, but the same trail we'd taken on our first date. We climbed in the dark. The sunrise came at 5:47. He got down on one knee. The ring was his grandmother's diamond, reset. He'd saved for 9 months, $1,850. His savings account dropped from $3,200 to $300 to $350. "Marilu, I know your parents will never approve of me. I know people will say you're settling. But I also know every single day that I will work harder to earn your love than anyone who thinks they're entitled to it. Will you marry me?" I said yes. We sat watching the sunrise over Bend. 48 degrees clear sky. Perfect. When should we tell your parents? He asked. My smile faded. Give me one perfect hour before the war starts. Date, 34, I called my mother. 6 seconds of silence after I told her we were engaged, the longest 6 seconds of my life. Have you thought about what people will say? She finally asked. I've thought about what I feel. That should matter more. Feelings fade, Marilu. But we'll support you in our way. What does that mean? It means we'll come to the wedding, but don't expect us to pretend we're happy about this. The sabotage started in June. My mother volunteered to help with planning. Then she cancelled my photographer appointment on June 20th without telling me. I looked at her portfolio. Very pedestrian. You deserve better. She showed me someone else's work. $8,500. I can't afford that, Mom. Well, if you'd made different choices, maybe you could. In July, my father offered to cover the venue deposit. $2,500 as a wedding gift. I thanked him. The deadline was July 31st. On August 3rd, the venue called. No deposit received. I called my father. It must have been a bank error, he said. I paid it myself. My savings dropped from $6,800 to $4,150, plus a $150 late fee. I sat on the edge of our bed that night staring at the bank app on my phone until the numbers blurred. The late fee felt like a slap across the face. Not because of the money, but because it was another reminder that my parents could reach into my life and pull strings I didn't even know existed. Jamie was in the kitchen making tea, the kettle whistling softly like it was trying to comfort me. I could hear him moving quietly, giving me space, and my heart ached with gratitude and guilt at the same time. How many more small mistakes would they create before the wedding? I closed the app and took a deep breath. I wouldn't let them win. Not this time, but the knot in my stomach told me this was only the beginning. Later, my cousin Rebecca told me the truth. My father had never written the check. I was giving you time to reconsider, he said when I confronted him. A man who can't afford to secure his own wedding venue isn't ready to be a husband. Jamie found out. He was furious. I can cover that, he said. I have money saved. Oh no, they can't know about your inheritance yet. Not until they accept you as you are. They're never going to accept me, Marilu. Oh, no. But I need them to try. August was Marcus season. My mother mentioned Stephanie's fiancé 14 times in 3 months. Every family call, every text. Stephanie and Marcus just put an offer on a house in Northwest Crossing. $675,000. Marcus is so good with investments. That's great for them. You could have had that too. You know, Trevor still asks about you. I blocked her texts for 3 days. Then she sent me an article, How to Know You're Settling in a Relationship, 10 Warning Signs. I could see she'd tracked when I clicked it. I closed it after 8 seconds. She called 5 minutes later. Did you read it? I don't need to. I know what I'm doing. Do you? In September, we officially booked the Grove. $18,000. The coordinator offered us an employee discount. My parents heard about the price. James' thumb traced small circles on the back of my hand, a silent promise that he was still here, still choosing me despite everything. In that moment, surrounded by the scent of cinnamon candles and unspoken judgment, I realized love wasn't about winning their approval. It was about refusing to let them take mine away. I found James' hand under the table. It was trembling. First time I'd ever felt him shake. Driving home, he was silent for 15 minutes. I'm sorry, he finally said. For what? For being the reason they hate you. Oh, they don't hate me. They hate that I won't let them control me. Should I tell them about the inheritance? And not yet. Let's see if they can do the right thing without a reason. Rebecca texted me that night at 11:47 p.m. What Mom and Dad did tonight was unforgivable. You know that, right? Yeah, I know. Are you going to let them come to the wedding? Yes. I'm giving them one last chance to choose love over pride. And if they choose pride, then they'll learn what it costs. Her final text, does James have a backup plan in case they pull something at the wedding? Yes, good. Use it if you need to. No mercy for people who refuse to learn. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mother called. February 1st, 2026, 11:43 at night. I've been thinking, your father and I want to give you a gift. $15,000. For what? for taking time to postpone the wedding. 6 months, a year. Just think about it. I understood immediately. You're trying to bribe me to leave James. I'm trying to save you from a mistake you'll regret for the rest of your life. That janitor is not your future. His name is James, and he's more my future than you'll ever be. My father took the phone. Your mother is emotional, but she's right. You still have time to fix this. There's nothing to fix. The wedding is February 14th. You can come and be kind, or stay home and be honest about who you are. I will be there. Someone has to protect you from yourself. 3 days later, my mother texted an article. Local attorney Trevor Michaels wins major settlement, $2.03 million, front page of the bulletin. He asked about you at the chamber luncheon. Said he'd love to reconnect. Engaged, Mom. Engagements can be broken. Mistakes can be corrected. Pride is temporary. Regret is forever. I blocked her number. The silence after blocking her felt strangely loud. I set my phone face down on the kitchen counter and stared out the window at the snowy outline of Mount Bachelor in the distance. James came up behind me, wrapping his arms around my waist without saying a word. His chin rested on my shoulder, and I leaned back into him, letting the steady rhythm of his breathing calm the storm inside my chest. For the first time in months, I didn't feel the need to explain or defend. I just felt ready. James found me crying one evening. Or do you ever regret choosing me over that life? Every single day, I'm grateful I chose you over that life. There's a difference. On February 7th, I sent one final email. Subject line, February 14th. Mom and Dad, the wedding is in 1 week. You have 2 choices. Come to the wedding, be kind, support us, respect my choice. 2, stay home and be honest about the fact that you value your pride more than your daughter's happiness. There is no third option. There is no will come but make snide comments. Choose love or choose pride. But choose now. My father replied in 2 hours. We'll be there. My mother replied 2 days later. Just okay. Rebecca called. They're coming, but Mom's been venting to everyone about how tragic your wedding will be. She's already set the stage to make a scene. Let her try. James has the deed in his jacket. If she goes too far, we're ready. Saturday, February 14th, 2026. Valentine's Day, 7:15 a.m. The bridal suite at the Grove. 6 bridesmaids, hair and makeup team. Champagne at 9:30. You look absolutely beautiful, Jenna said. Rebecca pulled me aside at noon. Are James going to lose it when he sees you? Mom asked Stephanie to prepare a toast. I overheard them rehearsing. It's not kind. Did James bring the document? Yeah, it's in his jacket pocket. Good. Let them hang themselves. I texted James. He replied instantly. I know. Ed warned me too. Document is ready. I love you. This should have been the happiest day of my life. Instead, I was preparing for battle. The ceremony started at 3:00 p.m. on the riverside lawn with Mount Bachelor rising in the background. 200 guests stood in the crisp 42-degree air. My father walked me down the aisle and handed me to James with no smile, no warmth, purely mechanical. My mother sat in the front row, her face tight and rigid. James' vows were steady and sincere. Emarilu, I promise to love you, not despite what others think, but because of who you are when it's just us. I promise to build a life where we define success, not anyone else. My voice shook as I spoke. James, I promise to choose you every day, even when it's hard. Even when people don't understand. Especially then. We kissed. Applause followed. I scanned the crowd. 180 people were clapping warmly. In my parents' section of 20, only 14 joined in. My mother and father kept their hands firmly in their lap. Stephanie sat smirking, not moving a single finger. Family photos at 3:45 felt like 20 minutes of torture. The photographer, Kelly Rodriguez, tried hard to coax natural smiles. My mother refused to touch James. My father wouldn't make eye contact. Kelly pulled me aside quietly. I've shot over 200 weddings. Your parents, that's the coldest family dynamic I've ever captured. Are you okay? The mountain air was sharp against my cheeks as we posed under the bare trees. Every click of the camera felt like a countdown. I smiled the way I'd practiced in the mirror that morning. Soft and genuine, but my jaw ached from holding it. My mother stood 2 feet away, refusing to place her hand on James' shoulder even when Kelly gently suggested it. The scent of pine and distant snow mixed with the faint floral notes of my bouquet, yet all I could focus on was the invisible wall between us. James squeezed my waist gently, grounding me. In that frozen moment, I realized this day wasn't about perfect photos. It was about choosing who stood beside me when the picture didn't look the way my parents wanted. "I will be," I whispered. "Just keep shooting." Cocktail hour ran from 4:30 to 5:30. I stood back and listened as one of my mother's friends asked, "The venue is lovely. How did you choose the Grove?" My mother answered smoothly. Marilee wanted to keep costs down. Her husband works here. Employee discount, you know. He's a janitor. Well, he's inheriting part of the building eventually from his grandfather's will. But for now, he mops floors. Every word was a small cut. The reception began at 5:30, with the grand entrance and first dance. We danced across oak floors that James had personally refinished in June 2024, the same floors he had mopped for over 900 nights. My parents had no idea he was dancing on the floor he owned. At his table, my father said loudly enough for me to hear, "At least the floor is decent." Good craftsmanship. Ed Morrison sat at the same table. He smiled knowingly. A best in the region, the owner takes real pride in this place. Owner must be doing well. This venue is always booked. "He's doing just fine," Ede replied, looking directly at James. At 6:45, my mother critiqued the lighting loudly. "A bit harsh. Could be softer. I would have gone with warmer tones." James had installed that entire electrical system himself in September 2023. 14 fixtures, $6,200 of his own money. He overheard from 10 feet away and caught Ed Morrison's eye. Ed mouthed a "let it go." Not yet. Dinner was served when my father commented again, loud enough for half the room. 18,000 for a wedding. Very economical. Stephanie's cost us 65,000, but different standards, I suppose. My parents had paid $18,000 to celebrate on property they openly called cheap. At 17, Ed Morrison stood to give his toast. I've known James Caldwell since he was 17 years old. I worked with his grandfather Arthur for 30 years. The Caldwell men don't talk much about what they have. They talk about what they do, and what James has done, the work he's put in, the sacrifices he's made, the integrity he's shown. That's the foundation of something real. Arthur set up his will to teach James the right way. 3 years of honest work before full inheritance. That's character. Marilee, you chose a man who knows the value of earning something from the ground up. That's rare. Congratulations to building strong foundations. My father leaned toward my mother and muttered, "That old man talks like James, some kind of saint. He mops floors." Ed Morrison heard it, smiled slightly, and sat down. 4:42 p.m. My mother approached the DJ. I'd like to say a few words. The string lights above us cast a warm golden glow across the oak floors. James had refinished with his own hands. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the air, but tension coiled tight in my stomach. I watched my mother walk toward the DJ with that familiar, confident stride. Shoulders back, chin high. The same walk she used when she believed she was about to fix something broken. Rebecca caught my eye from across the table and gave a small nod. My heart pounded. Whatever was coming, I was ready to face it with the man who had never once made me feel like I was settling. The DJ looked at me. I froze for a second, then nodded. He handed her the microphone. The room went quiet. 200 people, 180 actively listening. "Thank you," she began. "I promise to be brief. After all, there's only so much you can say about a wedding that costs less than our kitchen renovation." Nervous laughter scattered through the room. Mary Lou was such a bright child. Straight A's, scholarship offers to 3 universities. We thought she'd be a doctor or lawyer. Or at least marry one. She paused. Instead, she chose a different path. A very different path. James seems like a nice young man. He's polite. He's punctual. He's very good at what he does. Sweeping, mopping, taking out trash. Essential work, really. Someone has to do it. More nervous laughter, quieter now. Gerald and I have always taught our daughters to aim high, to never settle. But sometimes life has other plans. She was building to something. I could feel it. 3 minutes and 20 seconds total. 200 seconds, 14 sentences, dessert. 6 openly insulting, 8 backhanded, 0 genuine compliments. Then came the final blow. So let me say this to my daughter. Mary Lou, I love you. Your father loves you and will support you in this choice you've made. You've chosen a man who will never give you the life you deserve. You've chosen modesty over ambition. You've chosen settling over reaching. Her voice caught artificially. You'll never do better than a janitor. So at least you'll never be alone. Tomorrow, Lou and James, may you find happiness in your humble life together. Silent. 46 and 20 seconds. 3 seconds later, my father started clapping. 5 others joined. Stephanie, 2 of my mother's friends, 2 of my father's colleagues. 194 people sat frozen. I couldn't breathe. The room spun. Rebecca grabbed my hand under the table. James stood, pushed his chair back, and walked toward my mother. The room held its breath. My mother smiled, triumphant. My father smirked. James reached into his jacket, pulled out the document, unfolded it slowly, walked to the DJ booth, and took the microphone from my mother's hand. Her face shifted from triumph to confusion, then fear. 7:47 and 10 seconds. James held up the property deed. Official seal. Legal letterhead. Oregon State. The room could clearly see it. And Mrs. Farron, thank you for those words. I'd like to add a few of my own, but first I want to share something with everyone here. This is a property deed dated March 15th, 2022. It's a legal document transferring ownership of this building, the Grove Event Centre, from my grandfather Arthur Caldwell to me, with one condition. I had to work here for at least 3 years before full ownership transfers. My mother's face drained of colour. My father stood halfway up. James continued, calm and clear. He held the deed close to the microphone. The Grove Event Centre owner, James Arthur Caldwell. 4 seconds of absolute silence. Then Ed Morrison started clapping, slow, deliberate. Rebecca joined, then Connor, then Kelly the photographer. Within 15 seconds, 120 people were applauding. Here's the rewritten script with very minor changes, improved wording, flow and clarity, while keeping the exact same quantity of words and original meaning. The applause rolled through the room like thunder after a long drought. I watched faces I had known my whole life shift from shock to something like awe. Ed Morrison was grinning like a proud father. Rebecca was wiping tears. Even Kelly the photographer had lowered her camera for a second just to clap. The air felt electric. Yet in the middle of all that noise, I found myself searching for my parents' faces, 2 statues frozen in disbelief, and felt a strange mix of relief and sadness wash over me. The truth had finally been spoken, but it had cost us all something. My parents and their 20 friends remained silent. But James wasn't done. For those who don't know, my grandfather, Arthur Caldwell, was a commercial contractor. He and his partner Ed Morrison bought this building in 1998 for $180,000. It's now valued at $2.02 million. When my grandfather moved to a nursing home in 2022, his will transferred his 60% ownership to me with one condition. I had to work here for at least 3 years. No shortcuts, no executive position. Start at the bottom, learn every pipe, every wire, every weak board. So I became the night janitor. I've worked here for 3 years and 10 months, over 900 nights, sweeping these floors, mopping, cleaning, learning how this building breathes. I have an associate's degree in business. I could have taken other jobs, but I chose to honour my grandfather's condition and earn what I was inheriting. Mr. and Mrs. Farron. He looked directly at them. You paid $18,000 to celebrate on property you called cheap. You danced on floors I mopped. You criticised lighting I installed. You're standing in a building I will fully own in 2 more months. And you taught me something tonight that my grandfather never could. True worth isn't measured by a job title. It's measured by how you treat people when you think they can't fight back. He paused. I thank you for coming to our wedding in my building. He folded the document, handed the microphone back to the DJ, walked back to me, and kissed my forehead. The room exploded. 180 people stood in ovation. Ed Morrison hugged James. Rebecca was sobbing. Kelly kept shooting photos. My parents sat like statues, not moving, not blinking, destroyed. April 15th, 2026, full ownership would transfer. After that, Ed Morrison would manage the Grove day to day. We'd relocate by summer. After April, I can manage the Grove remotely, James said. Ed's been wanting more involvement anyway, and Portland has opportunities. You'd leave Bend. You've lived here your whole life. I'd leave anywhere to build a life where you're not haunted by their judgment. I started crying. I don't want you to sacrifice. It's not sacrifice, it's choice. I'm choosing us over history. On February 25th, an envelope arrived. Return address. Patricia Farron. I stared at it, put it on the desk and didn't open it. You going to read it? James asked. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'll keep it in case I'm ready someday. February 28th, the last day of the month. I sat by the window in our apartment. Rain outside, coffee in my hands, the letter still on the desk 15 feet away, unopened. James joined me. We sat in silence. My phone buzzed. Rebecca, Mum asked Stephanie for your address yesterday. Stephanie didn't give it. Thought you should know. I replied, thank her for me. I put the phone down, sipped my coffee and breathed. James asked. Rebecca texted. Mum's asking for our address. Stephanie didn't tell her. Do you want me to send it so she can? No. If she wants to reach me, she has my number. Email. She chose silence. I'm choosing peace. He squeezed my hand. Cigar. I'm proud of you. For what? For choosing yourself. We sat there watching rain streak the window. His hand in mine. Our life in Bend for now. Our plan for Portland later. Our choices. Our definition of worth. Our marriage. Ours. The letter from my parents sits on the desk unopened. Maybe I'll read it someday. Maybe I won't. But today isn't that day. Today I'm choosing the life I built, the man I married, the floor he swept, the building he'll own, the integrity he refuses to compromise. It's been 2 weeks since the wedding. My parents haven't called. I don't know if the letter is an apology or an accusation. I don't know if I'll ever open it. What I do know is I'm not waiting anymore. Not for their approval. Not for their understanding. Not for them to see James the way I see him. They needed a property deed to even consider respecting him. And even then it wasn't respect. It was shock, humiliation, defensiveness. But I don't regret choosing him. I don't regret the wedding. I don't regret letting them show me exactly who they are. James asked me tonight if I regret that he told them. I thought for a long time. I regret that it mattered, I said. I regret that the only way they could see your worth was through a piece of paper. I regret that we had to prove anything at all. He held my hand. They'll never see it. Some people can't. I know. That's why we're moving. Starting over. Are you scared? No. I'm ready. The letter sits there. A question I don't need answered yet. A door I'm not ready to open. An apology I may never receive. A relationship that may never heal. And that's okay, because you can't force someone to see your worth, but you can stop letting them define it. My name is Mary Lou Caldwell now, and I'm learning slowly to define it myself.